right, this chapter is ratios, rates, and conversions. I got my little tablet working now, so I hope that my writing will be better for you, and I'll go a little bit quicker for you. I'd like you to copy everything that's highlighted right here. If you will probably need to pause the video for a second and do that, so go ahead and do that right now. Now that you have that written down on your notebook, this will give you a chance to kind of just listen up and hopefully kind of clear up some maybe questions that you have in your head right now. So the big thing to keep in mind is that a ratio compares two numbers by division. And even though it's by division, it is sometimes written in a way that's not division. And what I mean by that is this is the most common way to write it, A over B, but it can also be written as A colon B or A to B. And we need you to understand that all three of these mean the same thing. Okay? And what that means is that for every A units of one thing, and you can put any number you want in for A. So let's say 4 units of one quantity. 4 units, we could be talking about 4 hours on your cell phone, $10, 6 gallons of gas, like it's just any kind of quantity. You have B units of another quantity. Okay, so whatever that second quantity may be. All right. You can also sometimes think of a ratio as like some kind of a multiplicative relationship. For instance, if we talked about the number of boys and the number of girls in a classroom, and if the ratio was 2 to 1, what that would mean is that there are 2 times more boys than girls in that class. Or another way of saying it, for every 2 boys, there's 1 girl, or for every 1 girl, there's 2 boys in the class. So if in the class there were, say, 10 girls, there would be twice as many boys. That would be 20. Okay. Now, your ratios aren't always written like 2 and a 1. They're not always. They don't always have a 1 in them. Okay. They don't always have a 1 in them. But when they do, they're called a unit rate. And a unit rate a lot of times is used when you want to compare quantities of different units. So the ratio that compares quantities measured in different units is called a rate. And many times those rates are written as a unit rate. So here are some examples of that. And if you want to write these down in your notes as examples of a unit rate, you sure can. You don't necessarily have to write unit rate in your notes. Actually, yes, I'm going to change my mind on that. I want you to put this in your notes as well. So a rate, okay, here's an example of a rate. For those of you who may have a job yet, and maybe you don't, but you're going to be on your way. Let's say you get your paycheck, and your paycheck says that you made $200, and that was for working 23 hours. Okay, so this is considered a rate because there are different units. This is dollars, this is hours. If we then wanted you to put this as a unit rate, which would get the denominator to 1, and that would show you what your hourly rate is, what we'd have to do is we'd have to take 200 divided by 23, which gives us 8.695, or about $8.70 per hour. Okay. This is now written as a unit rate. You are getting paid $8.70 for 1 hour. Your paycheck was $200 for 23 hours, but your unit rate is $8.70. Now understand that I use that as a very simple explanation. And anybody who works knows that that wouldn't actually be the case because you would get taxes taken out. Nobody likes those taxes taken out, but just understand that we're acting as if there are no taxes right here, and that's the way that it works. Okay, so that's a unit rate. So how do we use unit rates? How do we use them to help us with anything? A lot of times we will use them to convert from one thing to another, like from feet to inches or grams to kilograms, which we'll do in another slide. But if they all stay, or we want to keep them, in the same, kind of compare them. Let me reword what I just said. If we want to compare three different things, the best way to do that is get them to be a unit rate. And what I mean by that is, let's set up this example right here. You're shopping for t-shirts, and you're trying to figure out which store has the better deal. So let's write these now as ratios. Okay, $25 for 2 shirts, $45 for 4 shirts, $30 gets you 3 shirts. All right, so you can buy 2 shirts for 25, 4 shirts for 45, 3 shirts for 30. Which one has the better deal? It's kind of tough to tell right now because they all have different denominators. You bought a different amount of each. So what we want to do is get this down to a unit rate. And that unit rate will allow us to see how much each unit is. And so we need to get this down to a 1 for all of these. So we take 25 divided by 2, which gives us 12.50. So that's $12.50 for 1 shirt. 45 divided by 4 gives us $11.25 per shirt. And 30 divided by 3 gives us $10 per shirt. Now you might say, well, if this is $12.50 over 1, I don't have to write the 1. You do. Yes, this is division, but it's also called a ratio. And when it's a ratio, we have to have 2 numbers, even if the 1 is a 1, even if the denominator is a 1. We still have to keep it because what this tells us is this is $12.50 for 1 shirt. So it's nice to have that 1 left there. Now sometimes you will see it like this, $12.50 per shirt. But what this means is for 1 shirt. Okay. So which store has a better deal? Store C has your better deal. All right. Let's try some conversions. Okay, so when we're converting, we're going to have to use conversion factors, and conversion factors are usually unit ratios. So here's what we do. We're trying to convert from 330 minutes to how many hours that represents. So the first thing that you want to do is write 330 minutes, write it as a ratio. So 330 minutes over 1. Okay? This 1 doesn't have any units. We're just 330 minutes over 1. We want to convert that to hours. So we want to see what it's equal to for hours. So here's what you do. You take whatever it is that's up here, this minutes, and you write that down here on the bottom, opposite. And then you write what you're trying to find, what you're trying to convert it to, which is hours, and write it up top. And now you say we want to convert it to hours, so the hours gets a 1. How many minutes equal 1 hour? 60. 60 minutes and 1 hour are the same. Once you do that, what that allows you to do is cancel out the minutes, and you're just going to be left with hours on top. And if you would like, you can look for things that go into both. I know that 30 goes into both of these. 30 goes into 60 twice, 30 goes into 330 11 times. And now I just multiply across. 11 times 1 is 11. 1 times 2 is 2. So 11 over 2 comes out to be 5.5 hours. 5.5 hours is what 330 minutes converted to. Okay, that may have been confusing, so we're going to try another one. Let me erase that real quick. Okay. Let's try another one. 15 grams to grams. So, 15 kilograms to grams. So I'm going to write this 15 kilograms over 1. And then I'm going to set it equal to, and I'm going to write kilograms, since that's right there on the bottom, so that they'll cancel, and grams up top. Okay. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to say which one is bigger here. I think I might have stated that incorrectly on this last one. The best way to look at this is which one is bigger. Kilograms is bigger, so kilograms is going to get the 1. 1 kilogram equals how many grams? And if you need to look that up on your phone, go ahead and do that, but I'll tell you, it's 100 grams. All right, so now what happens is kilograms is going to eliminate each other. We have 1 and 1 down here. 15 times 100 is 1500. I'm sorry, 15,000. 15 times 100 is 15,000. And the only label that's left is grams. So what that means is 15 kilograms equals 15,000 grams. Okay, last one. We're changing 5 feet 3 inches to inches. So we want to write this as 5 feet 3 inches, except the thing about this is 3 inches is already in inches. There's no conversion that needs to happen there. So we're just going to set this aside, okay? 3 inches we're going to come back to. Just set it there. We'll come back to this. So let's think about this as instead converting 5 feet to inches. Okay, that's our problem that we have. So 5 feet to inches. So we have 5 feet, so we're going to write 5 feet over 1 equals, remember we want to put feet across and inches up top. Which one's bigger, feet or inches? A foot is bigger, so the foot gets to 1. How many inches equal 1 foot? That's 12. Now these are both 1s. The feet eliminate each other. 5 times 12 is 60, so this is 60 inches. However, we had this little 3 inches left here, so we have to add that back. And 60 plus 3 is 63 inches. So 5 feet 3 inches equals 63 inches. Let's try another one. What is 1,250 centimeters converted to meters? Same concept. 1,250 centimeters over 1 equals centimeters I want across or diagonal, meters I want up top. Meters is bigger, so I write a 1 there. 1 meter. How many centimeters are in 1 meter? That's 100. Now, your centimeters eliminate each other. If you notice, you can reduce these. And I know that 50 goes into both of them. I know 50 goes into 100 twice. And I know that 50 goes into 1,250 25 times. Now if you multiply across, 25 times 1 is 25. Meters is left as your label. 2 is left on the bottom. So what's 25 divided by 2? That is 12.5 meters. So what that means is 1,250 centimeters equals 12.5 meters. Last one we're going to try today. The CN Tower in Toronto, Canada is about 1,850 feet, 15 feet tall. About how many meters tall is the tower? Use the fact that 1 meter is approximately 3.28 feet. Okay, so let's take the original 1,815 feet, put it over 1, equals feet. I'm going to put on the bottom here, and I'm trying to convert it to meters. All right, which one is, in this case, I guess, bigger, or which one is the unit? Meters, so we're going to write 1 meter. 1 meter equals about 3.28 feet. The feet cancel. We get 1,815 meters divided by 3.28, because these multiply across. 1 times 3.28. And then 1,815 divided by 3.28 comes out to be approximately 533 meters. Those are some of the things that you'll be doing on your assignment. So if you have any troubles with these, or I would suggest maybe going back and watching them again if they're still a little fuzzy, and writing down any questions you have. See you in class.